There is a pattern that shows up consistently inside companies that have been working with AI for a year or two. They started with real intention. They picked tools, ran pilots, and got some wins. And then, at some point, things quietly plateaued. Not dramatically, no single failure, just a slow leveling off where AI stopped compounding and started coasting. When you look closely at why, the answer is almost always the same. The company was using AI, but nobody was managing it. Those two things sound similar. What you are watching right now is an AI clone, a digital version of me, Ronald, the founder of Datawonder. We build AI automation and voice agent systems for real businesses. Insurance companies, accounting firms, medical clinics, organizations where the volume of repetitive work is high, the data is sensitive, and the cost of inefficiency is very real. I use AI every day, not as an experiment, as infrastructure. And this channel exists because most of what gets said about AI in business misses what actually happens inside companies when these systems go to work. If you are here for calm, grounded analysis of how AI actually lands inside organizations, not hype, not tutorials, consider subscribing. That is what this channel is built for. Now, back to the distinction that most companies are not making clearly enough. Using AI means deploying a tool and getting output from it. A team uses an AI assistant to draft emails. A department uses a model to summarize documents. A support function uses an AI to handle inbound queries. These are all real examples of AI use, and they all produce value, at least initially. Managing AI is something different. It means treating AI systems the way you treat any other critical business function, with ownership, with performance benchmarks, with regular review, with someone who is accountable for the results those systems produce over time. The gap between these two modes is where most companies are quietly losing ground. Here is what using AI without managing it actually looks like inside a business. A team adopts a tool. The tool works reasonably well out of the box. People integrate it into their workflow. They get comfortable with it, and then they stop evaluating it. The AI becomes background infrastructure assumed to be working, rarely examined. 6 months later, the business has grown. The volume of work has changed. The types of queries or documents or communications the system is handling have shifted. But the AI configuration has not changed at all. It is still running the same prompts, the same logic, the same parameters it had on day one. And nobody has looked. That is not a technology problem. That is a management problem. The assumption underneath most AI deployments is that the system, once configured, stays effective on its own. That assumption is wrong. Not because AI is unreliable, but because businesses are not static. The context changes, the data changes, the edge cases multiply, and an AI system that is not being actively monitored will gradually drift from optimal performance without anyone noticing until the drift has become a significant cost. In sectors like insurance and healthcare and accounting, where I do most of my work, this is particularly consequential. A voice agent handling inbound insurance queries needs to reflect the current product catalog, the current compliance requirements, the current language the company uses. If that agent has not been reviewed and updated in 4 months, it is probably still functional, but it is also probably producing outputs that are slightly off, slightly outdated. And in regulated environments, slightly off is not acceptable. The like button costs you nothing, by the way. If this is useful, it helps the channel reach people who are looking for exactly this kind of analysis. The second thing that gets lost when companies are using AI without managing it is ownership. When a team adopts a tool and it works, everyone takes credit. When it stops working well, nobody owns the problem. I see this consistently. The team that requested the tool blames the configuration. The person who configured it says the requirements were unclear. The technical team says they were not given the right data. And meanwhile, the AI system continues operating at reduced effectiveness, while the organization debates who is responsible for fixing it. This is not a character flaw in any of these people. It is a structural problem. AI deployments that lack clear ownership of a single person or function accountable for the performance of that system will always drift toward this outcome. Technology does not create accountability. What managing AI actually looks like in practice is less dramatic than people expect. It does not require a dedicated AI team. In most of the organizations I work with, it starts with something simple: a regular review cadence. Someone with decision-making authority sits down once a month and asks 3 questions. Is this system still doing what we need it to do? Has anything changed in the business that affects how this system should behave? And what does the output data actually tell us about performance? That practice alone, just those 3 questions, on a consistent schedule, separates companies that compound value from AI over time from companies that plateau. The third dimension of this distinction is harder to see, and it is the one that creates the most significant second-order consequences. When you are only using AI, your people are optimizing for the tool. They learn its quirks. They adapt their own behavior to get better outputs. They build workarounds for its limitations. This sounds fine on the surface. People are engaged with the system. They are getting results. But what is actually happening is that the system is shaping the people, rather than the people shaping the system. And over time, this creates a dependency that is difficult to unwind. The team stops asking whether the AI is doing the right thing and starts asking how to use it better. Those are very different questions. Managing AI keeps the hierarchy in the correct order. The business defines the outcome it needs. The AI system is evaluated against that outcome. When there is a gap, the system is adjusted. The people do not adapt to the tool. The tool is held accountable to the people. That inversion from adapting to the tool to managing the tool is the actual shift that separates mature AI deployment from early-stage experimentation. And most companies, even ones that have been using AI for 2 or 3 years, have not made it. The practical consequence of staying in using mode is that the returns from AI stop growing and eventually start shrinking. Not because the technology got worse, because the organization stopped treating it as something that requires active stewardship. The initial efficiency gain becomes the ceiling instead of the floor. And the companies that figure this out, that install real ownership, real review cycles, and real accountability into their AI deployments, are the ones where the compounding actually happens. Each review cycle surfaces something that can be improved. Each improvement raises the baseline. The gap between them and the company still just using AI widens quietly, month by month, without anyone making a dramatic announcement about it. This is the part of AI in business that almost never gets covered. The headlines are about what AI can do. The real story is about what organizations need to do to make AI keep working. It's not a technology question. It's a management question. And most businesses are not yet asking for it. I am curious where your organization sits on this. If you have AI systems deployed right now, voice agents, automation workflows, anything running in the background, is there someone actively accountable for those systems? Or did the deployment happen and the accountability quietly disappeared? Leave your answer in the comments. I read them, and the pattern that shows up across responses is often worth its own video. If you would like to explore how your business can move from using AI to actually managing it, and what that looks like in practice, you can book a free call with me.